All right. Ma drops the first. Always.
Cool.
I think in one stream, Ma
Be the first
claimed.
one.
I think he claimed third, but no one claimed first. There was just two messages. do 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 do. We'll wait for some people to roll in. Says we have zero
Mike.
viewers right now.
The best goalie in the world is playing tonight, Martin Jones, against your beloved Minnesota Wild.
I'm just so happy to see that.
I'd probably fade them, honestly.
No. You can't. do 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 do. Minnesota just like they're priced so well tonight. I don't know. Like that second line's under 10K.
Yeah.
It's like for a
But,
second
like,
line.
Are you really gonna take the second line?
If you need to pay up for like the Matthews line, probably, yeah. Yo, Mike without a hat. I know. Letting the hair flow today. I need a haircut bad though. It's been a while. No, I claimed, but I have you guys on my phone for questions and my TV to watch. I love that. YouTube's just way better on the TV. And now like every TV has YouTube on it. Like all the smart TVs.
All the smart TVs, yeah.
I'm just gonna check that Minnesota line's minutes. I wish Brodin played more. Zook played 15. Kaprizov played 17. It's pretty good.
I mean, that's pretty good considering their price.
Yeah, Rask played 15.
And you get a little bit of power play exposure there too.
Yeah. Happy David Ayers Day. Oh, Clarky.
Oh no.
Shot through the heart. I actually have like a Maple Leafs water bottle right here that my uncle gave me for Christmas, even though I don't like the Leafs, but he decided that's what he would get me.
I'm
So
having
I got
a Vietnam flashback right now.
I'm so curious of the outcome of this Panther Stars game tonight. So curious.
That's right. Because, like, Dallas has kind of come down to earth.
And now it's Florida's time.
And, and the Panthers just have been on fire.
Yeah, they're filth, dude. I don't like it either. I don't like it because I keep saying they're bad and then they just keep doing good. But they've played 7 games against Detroit. I think I looked yesterday, or 6 games against Detroit already.
Yeah.
So I think they've won every single game too against them.
I mean, they beat Tampa.
I know.
Which I was shocked.
I think 1 game against Carolina, 2 games against Tampa, and then 6 Detroit and 3 Nashville, which is, I mean, not the hardest schedule.
No, by no means, but
picked up Mangiapane for the week. Yeah, I like that. I said it yesterday in the stream. I think he's a good. I think they have 2 games against the Leafs and then 2 against Ottawa. So pretty favorable if like you're in a week-long league where you need to start someone. But what's up with Panarin, man?
What is up with Panarin?
Yeah, I don't know how much we can talk about that because I think there's a lot of politics that is surrounding that. So I don't think we can actually talk too much about it.
Oh, really? I had no idea.
I'm getting to the opinion that teams on long layoffs play very poorly in their first game back. Dallas hasn't played since Feb 13th. See, Devils, it's like 50-50 because, well, were they off because of COVID protocol? Because I know Montreal had like a break, which is fine.
Montreal had a break, and then they have just a ridiculous schedule from now until the end of the season.
Yeah.
Like literally a game every second day.
I still think Dallas just doesn't intrigue me. I don't know if you saw their lineup tonight, Devils, but pretty good night last night on DraftKings. Me and Devils had literally like almost a mirror lineup without talking to each other. We did almost the exact same thing. I think Devils, you took Allen and Weber, and then I took McAvoy and Hellebuck, but our lineups were the exact same. So love that. Oh, the blackouts. Yeah, okay, I got you. I wonder if they were still skating during that. I don't know. Did you play last night?
I did not. I usually take Sundays off. So I didn't play. The
Yeah.
slate wasn't bad. Like I had a look at it, but it wasn't. It was kind of a short slate, so I was like, okay, I'll just stay off it. Like it was a 4-gamer, so.
Yeah. That Flyers Boston game had a 5 over under, and it ended 7-3. It was like four. It was like there was like 4 goals in the first period. What a
Did you see
joke.
Carter Hart's save percentage in that game?
He's been bad. I think Rask had a bad save percentage too. 16.
He had a 739 and Rask had an 842.
Yeah, that's not. Those goalies don't do that very often.
Yeah.
Yo, I actually saw a list today of the top 25 goalies this season. They had James Reimer at 6, and they had Kemper and Gibson 24 and 25.
Who is making these lists, dude?
I have no idea, man. I think they just make them like bad so people talk about them, and that's, I mean, it worked. Anyways, let's get into the slate. This is gonna be a way better one than last 2 nights ago. 2 nights ago was like one of the more difficult slates I've ever played in. I just felt like there was not like a set spot to go in, and of course the Leafs popped off, so just ruined the night every night, and they're gonna ruin the night tonight probably. So we got Lightning Hurricanes. This was a huge surprise for me. And I know that before the game, Svechnikov was supposed to be on the third line. And Svechnikov-Aho lines in their career have been extremely good defensively. And they ended up putting them together before lock. And it looked like they matched up against the Palat line, who had a lot of trouble against them last game. 4-0 win for the Hurricanes. It was a huge surprise. Nedeljkovic was starting, but it seemed like the Hurricanes were just a better team in this game. So where I'm going tonight, like I'm kind of fading the Lightning. I don't think I'm too interested in them tonight. But I know Reimer has been very bad. But I'm just looking at this from a 5-on-5 standpoint. They're not priced favorably. Like you still see Stammer over 8K, points up at 7K. Like it's hard for me to pay 20K for a line going against the Carolina top line, who's been completely limiting chances. And I think the only reason why you would go to this Lightning team is just for a power play. And in hopes that they get, 2 or 3 power play goals. And then that top line pays off. But at the 20K price tag today, I just think there's better options. On the defensive side, other than Cernak, there's not really anything else I'm interested in. I think 7K Hedman is too pricey. Doesn't shoot, doesn't block enough for me to get behind that. And then Vaz at 7,800 is always a good play. Hurricanes shoot the puck a lot, so the volume's going to be there for Vaz. But he's probably like one of the few one-off goalies tonight. I'm usually correlated my goalies, and I probably will tonight. But I think if you're looking at that under 8K price range for a goalie, you're fine taking Vaz tonight.
I think anytime you see Vass under 8Ks, it's good value for him. But in terms of the Lightning, I'm still good with Lightning 1. I think it's possible that they get just like a bounce back after that kind of embarrassing loss to the Hurricanes, right? Like they got shut out, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, 4-0. Nedeljkovic was starting too.
Yeah, so I don't know, like I'm kind of feeling a Lightning bounce back here. Like they're all power play 1 correlated. You don't necessarily have to throw Hedman in there because that makes your lineup like super one-sided, just in terms of like hoping that the Lightning first line pops off and Hedman gets a couple of power play assists or something. So I'm usually fine with leaving Hedman off and going with somebody a little cheaper with like a higher shot total and block total. But I think it's still fine to take the first line for the Lightning. It's just that's a really tough matchup, like you said, against the Hurricanes first line. So it'll be interesting to see how Game 2 goes against these 2 teams. These are 2 of the better teams in their division as well. So it'll be a tight matchup. And I didn't expect Carolina to win by 4-0, especially with Nedeljkovic in net. I almost butchered his name again.
Yeah, is one of the hardest names in the league, I would say.
Yeah. Even the third line's good. Like I love the third line just as a filler. They're cheap. They get power play time. They're usually pretty good 5-on-5. So I'm okay with taking them as well. And then Cernak's a pretty good price. He's just sitting in that no man's land. Do we know Sergachev's price? Okay, he's 5K right now.
Yeah, still a little pricey for me.
11 assists. He doesn't really shoot, doesn't really block. So 5K's that's definitely expensive for him. So I'm good if you like the first line for the Lightning tonight, and then I'll definitely have the third line as like a filler stack.
Yeah, you always have that third line. All right, so from the Hurricane side, and we talked about this a little bit before the stream, They have extremely high expected goals, a 3.85. So they've been working teams when Svetch is on the top line. And that really interests me tonight. So the Lightning they take the most penalty minutes in the NHL. I think 12 per game I just saw. They are pretty good on the penalty kill. But, I mean, if you're giving this Hurricanes team 5 or 6 power plays in a night, like, they're going to score a few goals on you. And you have Aho and Svetch both on power play 1. So it's an easy correlation play. I think McGinn is... If you want to get different from the field, you keep McGinn in your lineup because the ownership's not going to be there for him. I'm sure we'll see him like under 10%. And I just think it's a really favorable matchup. That Lightning top line has actually been not as good defensively as we've seen in the past with Kucherov up there. So I don't mind Hurricanes 1 at all tonight. I think Hurricanes 2 are also in a pretty good spot. They absolutely worked Lightning 2 last game, like really bad. They had the 13 scoring chances for 4 against. Again, and this is a similar thing where if the Hurricanes are getting a lot of power plays tonight, you have 2 guys on the same power play unit, and they have about a 40% share on the second. So when there's a power play, they play about 40% of it, the second unit. So that's a really good thing to know about Nichas and Niederreiter. And then they've been really strong 5-on-5. So I think it's a pretty good matchup for them going against the Lightning 2, who just have not been good since Cirelli's out. And we know Cirelli's like that elite defensive center. So definitely interested in Hurricanes 1 and 2 tonight. On the defensive side here, the prices have come up a little bit too much for my liking. I think Slavin's fine at 4,600, and you're also okay taking Dougie just because of that power play opportunity. Like, if you watch Carolina on the power play, all they're doing is giving Dougie the puck, and he's just shooting it on net for a tip. Like, it's hilarious. So Dougie's always a good one-off defenseman, a really high shot volume. He has one of the highest floors on the slate tonight. And then Reimer at 7,500. I'm gonna get some of him just as a correlation play for my goaltenders. The Lightning are gonna have quite a lot of volume tonight on him, so you're kind of just hoping for 30-35 saves and hopefully the win and a few goals against. Optimistic there.
Yeah. Really, the only thing you're worried about if the Lightning kind of just do exactly what the Hurricanes did to them last game and they get 2 or 3 goals, and then you're just sitting with Reimer in a game where it's at that point it's not really likely that the Hurricanes come back and win. But if you see the first line matchup against Lightning 1, I'd just like it'll be kind of a 50-50 matchup, I think. Like, the Aho, as good as the Aho and Svechnikov line are at 5-on-5, you still have to remember, like, that first Lightning line has Point and Stamkos on it. And Palat has seen a little bit of synergy with that top line now with Kucherov being out. So I think if I'm going anywhere tonight, it's Hurricanes 2. They've just been fantastic as of late. Like, Trocheck is just on fire right now. Nichas and Niederreiter both bring the price of the line down, so you're not even paying as much as you would for the first line for the Hurricanes. And I think that this second line has just a lot more upside because they won't see that matchup against the Braden Point line. And then I'm probably off the third line as well, but love Dougie for 6,700. Anytime he's under 7K, I think it's a good price for him. And then Slavin and Pesci are both pretty good price. Like, we saw their price kind of lower a little earlier. They've just been priced up as of late, so it's a little bit tougher to get to them, but I still think they're good options because they both play over like 21 minutes a game. So I'm kind of hesitant to take Reimer, though. I'll be honest. I know correlating goalies is definitely the way to go, but I'm looking at this Lightning team and I'm thinking it could be a bounce back game for them.
Fair enough. Okay, Flames, Leafs. This is going to be a fun one to watch tonight. I'm really excited for this matchup. So a couple things to note here. Zach Hyman and Joe Thornton are out on the Leafs side. I think Muzzin's also out tonight. We haven't crossed out here.
Really?
So if you want to look into that quickly as I talk about the Flames, but on the Flames side, and I'm so happy for this too. So Monahan's out and Mangiapane, Backlund to Chuck. They're finally back together. Their best line last year, their best line this year right now. They have extremely strong 5-on-5 numbers. They're creating chances like crazy. We're finally seeing Chuck's shot volume go up. I think he had about 7 or 8 shots last game. And that's what we want to see from this line, just putting the puck to the net, creating scoring chances. Mangiapane is on power play 1 as well. So you have 2 correlations there. A $4,400 power play 1 winger is really good, especially playing the top line, seeing a lot of minutes. So really like Flames 1 tonight. My only knock on them is they're probably going to play against the Matthews line, and that's a really tough 5-on-5 matchup. So I like them as a line, and their numbers are very eye-popping. But you just got to remember that this Matthews line has been very sound defensively, and they're going to have trouble in their own end. So They're a good line if you're looking for a filler at the 15K price tag, but just be wary that they are going to be playing against that Matthews line. So it's going to be a lot of shutting down. Boyd has been kind of a surprise, but we'll get to that. The second line, the Flames here don't have much interest. I just think the Gaudreau-Lindholm combo hasn't done it for me at all this year, and they haven't really done it for me in the past. I know Gaudreau-Lindholm-Monahan line last year were very bad defensively. They struggled a lot on their own end. And you're kind of just hoping for a few power plays in them to get lucky and score a few on Freddie Anderson tonight. But not too much interest in the second line here. On the defensive side, again, there's nothing I'm interested in. I just think it's too hard of a matchup. The D are going to be spending more time shooting the puck off the glass or off the boards than shooting the puck on net tonight. But Markstrom 7,100, it's going to be the toughest matchup he sees all year, other than, I guess, Edmonton. But I think the Leafs and Edmonton are very similar in terms of their scoring. So the volume is going to be there at 7,100, but it's just not good playing goaltenders against the Leafs. And we've seen that time and time again this year.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough matchup, and even though they're going against the Leafs, I still think Markstrom for 7,100 is a good price for him. Like, I think that's a fair price in terms of, yes, he's probably going to get scored on a couple times, but he's just going to see so many shots that he might actually be okay at that price and hold his value. So, like Mike said, it's tough to take a goalie against the Leafs, especially in the Canadian division. But if you're on the Flame side tonight, the one thing that you are happy about is you don't see Jake Muzzin in the lineup, and he's typically somebody that plays that kind of like a shutdown D role on the Leafs end. So with him being out of the lineup, we'll see what happens with that. It just gives the Flames a little bit more leeway in terms of what they're able to get away with, especially like Matthew Tkachuk, somebody who likes to play on the edge, we'll say. But the Flames one is definitely where you want to go tonight, if anything. Even though they'd see the Matthews matchup more than likely, it is possible that Keefe might just roll his lines and they'll get like a matchup against Tavares or the Engvall line or something like that. So it's very possible that they can get away from that Matthews line for sure. And I think they have good upside. And as you see, their expected goals for are very good. So like Mike said, the second line just hasn't been it this year. Like it's frustrating because like you see how priced down they are, and Levo brings that price down even further and gives you like an ownership option. But it's tough. Like they just haven't been the nut stack ever. And I'm actually a big fan of the third line, so I'll probably have some of them as just fillers.
Yeah, they have good numbers.
Extremely cheap. Especially if you want to like load up like a top end line, or like say you go Matthews, Marner, Tavares, or Matthews, Marner, Nylander, for example, and just like kind of load up one line. I wouldn't necessarily game stack, but say for like the Lightning, for example, is a really expensive line that you'd be able to pair with that Flames 3 line and still get some half decent defensemen. So
yep.
In terms of defensemen for the Flames, though, I'm kind of off everything. Like we see Rasmus Anderson go back to power play 1, which is solid for his price at 4,500, playing over 20 minutes a game. But the Leafs, I believe, are like fairly competent on the penalty kill as of late. Like just in their past 10 games, I think they've been over 80%. So just kind of something to watch there as Anderson do too much outside of that like power play 1 role. He's kind of slowed down as of late. So I'm just not on really any of the Flames, D.
Yep. All right, so the Leafs side, we see Jumbo is out tonight. So the big surprise, actually, I got to change this. Is Travis Boyd top power play tonight? Sorry, the guys did the lines last night. Anyways, so the big like spotlight for the Leafs is Travis Boyd has been a huge surprise this year. Like he's actually, when you watch the games, he looks really good. Like he looks like he's there to play. And that's what I like to see. We know Matthews Marner lines have been fantastic 5-on-5. There's not too much for me to talk about with the Leafs side here. I just think you can never go wrong taking this top line. For me tonight, and we're gonna have opposing views, is I'm not taking them. I'm doing 4 lineups tonight, and 3 in the enforcer and then 1 in the single entry. And the way I'm looking at it is I'm okay with Matthews going off at 40% ownership. I would rather not play against 40% of the field. I would rather, like, maybe Matthews drops 27.5 tonight and then Marner drops 10 and then this line busts. And now I'm 40% ahead of the field. So that's how I'm going to play it tonight. That's how I've been playing it. It's been burning me like crazy. Every time the Leafs are on the slate, I lose because I don't take them. But I'm staying true to that. So the second line here, not too much to like. I just think they've been pretty poor. but they're at 15K. It's a good price. They're going to be playing about 16 to 17 minutes, and that's what you want to see. And they have really good numbers with Kerfoot dating back to last season. They had 200 minutes together, 3.04 expected goals for. So they're okay. They just haven't really done it for me. I think there's better spots on the slate tonight. This Flames team isn't as bad as we give them credit for. On the defensive side, Riley's way too priced up for me. I'm completely off of him tonight. And Freddie's, again, is just too pricey for me. There's just not too much I liked from this Leafs side, aside from the top line.
Yeah, it's interesting that we see Boyd go up on the first line. Usually we see like Mikheyev or somebody jump in there, but with Hyman being out as well, it gives Travis Boyd an opportunity to play on that top line. And like Mike said, he's been surprisingly good as of late. Like that Leafs fourth line has been good in terms of just the eye test. I don't know how their expected goals for are, and we don't usually look at fourth lines typically just because they don't play enough minutes, but if you do watch some of the Leaf games, you've seen that Travis Boyd has been a real bright spot for the Leafs. So definitely like the first line tonight. I think you can't go wrong with Matthews and Marner. Mike's opposed to that, just fading them all together, which is completely understandable just from an ownership perspective. But I'm just more so on the field that if you take lines that are going to break the slate and win you games, then you kind of just are forced to take those lines. But actually, we see that Toronto is going with their loaded power play now instead of splitting the two.
Oh, really?
So Travis Boyd's actually on the second one. I just looked.
Okay.
And it'll probably be Brody and Lettinen on the second unit. And Lettinen is min price at 2,500. So I'm less excited about him now because they've loaded that top power play line. And you don't really get the option with him being on the ice with like Nylander or Tavares, for example. So I'm probably just kind of more off him as a punt defenseman, though, just because he will see those third line minutes as well. But I think even if you want to go the second line, like they have some pretty good numbers from last year. It's just Tavares and Nylander have looked bad. And Keefe recently talked in an interview about how he actually benched Nylander at the end of last game for the last like 8 minutes or so in the third period, just because he hasn't liked the way he's been playing. So hopefully this just kind of gets them going. I think it's a clear-cut option of taking Leafs 1 tonight. I don't think he really needs to go anywhere else. Maybe if you take the third line just as like it being a cheap filler stack, that's always an option as well. But it's Leafs 1 for me tonight, and Riley is extremely priced up at 6,400, so I'm probably off him as well.
All right, I'll just answer a couple questions here in chat. I don't think we have too many, but Brew is asking if Tavares needs different line mates. I mean, you have a little take on that, but I just think...
I think...
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think they're super limited on who they can pair him with, and I don't know if it looks good on a team to be making trades legit every month. They make like 2 trades or sign a guy off waivers. It's just too much turnover on a team. I feel like, you've seen Boston's success where they literally keep the same guys for 10 years. But Kempe, Greenway, or Mangiapane. For this week, I would say Monge, just because they have 2 games against the Leafs, should be high scoring, and then they also have 2 games against the Senators this week. Drop Horvat for Reinhart. Buffalo played 5 games this week. But see, I get Buffalo plays 5 games, but you have to look at it from a long-term standpoint. Like, will Reinhart be on your roster the week after, or are you just going to drop him for somebody else? So I think long-term, Horvat's your guy over Reinhart.
Sure.
And that's how I'm looking at it. I get they have 5 games this week, but maybe they'll have 3 the week after it, and Vancouver will have 5. And you go look on free agency, and Horvat's not on the free agency anymore. So you kind of handcuff yourself. Someone traded Draisaitl for Panarin and Gaudreau. Wow. Smart man. All right. This is going to be a quick one here. Stars, Panthers. Nothing I like from either side. I'm not taking anyone. If I'm going anywhere tonight, it's going to be the Stars 3 line, the Gurionov, Robertson, Hintz line. They should be either playing against Panthers 2, who have been terrible defensively, or the Panthers depth, who is just non-existent. So don't mind Stars 3 tonight if I'm going anywhere. Hudobin at 7,400 is a good price. And that's a spot that I can see myself going just as a one-off goaltender. No correlation there. And the Panthers side, I'm going to run through it quickly. I just don't like them against the Stars. It's just a really tough matchup for them tonight. Should be a low event game. The Panthers have burned me time and time again, but if you look at it historically, they're just not a very good team, and the Stars are very, very good defensively.
Yeah, it's definitely a matchup that I look at and it's like, okay, I kind of want to fade this. Like, there's better options on the slate tonight. Even though the Panthers have been great as of late, I'm just more intrigued to see like how this type of matchup will turn out, and I don't feel comfortable like taking one line. Like I don't see any upside either way. Like, yes, Dallas could blow out the Panthers, absolutely, but Drieger's been pretty good in net as of late, and the Panthers have been hot, so it's kind of like seems unlikely that that'll happen to me. And neither team kind of like is just giving me any type of consistency. Like, yes, the Panthers have been good, but as Mike said, or I think you talked about it before the stream, if you looked at their matchups over the past like however many games they played some pretty like poor teams. So their point percentage is definitely a little bit inflated.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to come back down to earth, similar to what we saw with the Stars when they first started out. And I'm just still not convinced that the Dallas is a goal-scoring team yet. So
yeah,
I'm just going to fade this game.
Yeah, I mean, if you need a punt defenseman, I think Strawman at 2,900 is fine. He plays over 20 minutes, and he's cheap. You're kind of just hoping for maybe an assist or a couple shots and a block. And then Heiskanen at 4,400 is also fine. All right, Panthers. They're going to burn me again tonight, but I'm over it. Just not a good team. All right, so this is a game that I'm really intrigued in. I'm not sure about you, but Sabres Islanders. So from the Sabres side, I am not looking at anything at all. I'm completely off of this side. I just think this is a really, really tough matchup against Islanders 1, who have been an extremely good 5-on-5 line dating back to last year. I have their 530 minutes on the dock. I just think that they're going to struggle on their own end a lot. And the Sabres this top line especially is really reliant on getting a couple power play goals. So I'm not on the Sabres top line at all. Line 2 is going against the Pajot line, which is another really difficult matchup tonight for them. So there's just nothing from the Sabres side that I'm interested in. I'm not sure if you have any take on that, or you want to just jump over to the Islanders.
No, they've just been bad, and I can't like justify getting it. It's kind of like the Rangers for me, where you see like a pretty good top 6, especially with Taylor Hall sliding into the Sabres lineup this year. Like, I thought like he would definitely make an impact coming in, and he really hasn't. It's just been like Eichel again trying to carry the team, and he hasn't been able to do it himself this year. So I'm kind of off the Sabres team until they show me something consistent.
All right, fair enough. We have 30 people in here. I'm seeing 9 likes. If you guys want to take a second and drop a like on the stream quick, just helps us out, gets more people in here, helps our algorithm out a little bit. Share more of the knowledge with everybody else. It's quick, a little time consuming doing these streams, so it's just another motivator to keep us going. But Islanders side.
Whoa, hold on. Christopher's saying, time to shop Yossi, abandon ship or abandon hope? Absolutely not.
No, Yossi's a top 3 defenseman rest of season. Even if he's been bad, he's been so good in his career. So
he always evens it.
Yeah. And wait till they have their matchups against against Detroit. Like when they have 3-4 games against Detroit, he's gonna have a really strong outing. All right. So Islanders 1, your most hated line, but my favorite line. They never ever have ownership. They're very good 5-on-5. They're all correlated on the top power play unit. They are in a really good spot tonight against a Sabres line that has been really bad. They had 607 minutes last year, 252 expected goals against. Given the sample, I just think that goals against is so intriguing to target against, and we're going to see this Islanders 1 line match up against them 5-on-5 the entire game. So I looked, and the Sabres don't take too many penalties, and that's a good thing because you want this 5-on-5 matchup to be there the entire game. So I like the Islanders 1 quite a bit tonight. They're going to be probably one of my favorite lines. I just think it's way too hard to ignore this matchup. On the defensive side, I think you're fine taking Nick Leddy. He's actually been pretty good this year, but you're kind of just hoping for 2 assists, and he'll pay off value for you. But Ryan Pulock, 4,700, always a defenseman I like. You can pair him with your Islanders 1 stacks, or you can just pair him as a one-off defenseman in some of your lineups. And then Varlamov at 8,400, I'm not too intrigued by it. He is very likely to get the win tonight. It's just the shot volume I don't think is going to be there with this Islanders team that blocks so many shots. I'm more intrigued to take a goalie that's more likely to get over 30 shots against, where I think Varlamov's in line for at least under 30 tonight.
I was watching some Sabres Devils yesterday, and yeah, man, like the Sabres just look bad. Like they were struggling against the Devils, and every time I take the Islanders, they always just seem to bust. But I think this is a favorable enough matchup to where the first line, hopefully, given the fact that they're never owned, will just be the nut stack for once. And it's so weird because it's either like Barzal is just shooting at a ridiculous rate or Lee's shooting at a ridiculous rate. They're just never doing it at the same time, which, makes sense because there's only one puck on the ice and you can't have everybody shooting at once. They're all power play 1 correlated. They have a really good expected goals for against, like, just consistently. So, like Mike said, you kind of want that 5-on-5 matchup for the whole game. And I think it's a really good spot for the Islanders, as much as it pains me to say that, because I am going to go back to them tonight and I am going to get burned by them tonight. I just know it. This is kind of my last straw for them, I'll be honest. If they don't kind of produce tonight, then I might just be off them for the rest of the year. They've burned me so many times.
Well, this is how it always works. They start off the game, first period, full line goal, right away, and you're pumped. Second period rolls around, Barzella from Dal Cole, and then peanuts rest of the game. Crickets. You don't see anything. So like you're just scratching your head. But they were a winning stack for me a few times this year and last year. So I'm on them. I'm always on them. We'll see what happens for us tonight. How do you take winnings out of DraftKings? Ma's asking. So Ma, you just have to withdraw. I have my DraftKings up here, but I mean you can't really see much just looking. But you should be able to just go to your account and then withdraw. I did it last year. I had a really big win 2 or 3 times. I cashed out quite a bit of money last year. But if you need help, Ma, you can just message me on Discord and I'll walk you through it. Vancouver's already played 22 games in Buffalo, not so much. Yeah, but Vancouver's just a better team. They're in the Canadian division. They have better matchups they're going to be playing against all year, where the Sabres just are not too strong of a team. I think you're good to hang on to Horvat personally, Charles. I don't think he's a drop in any league. Thoughts on Zib? You guys love my thoughts on Zib. I got the jersey. Got the jersey back here. I wore it last game. He scored. So let's hope he can pick it up. Puliarvi or Duchesne? Puliarvi for me. Remind about likes. Thanks, man. A lot of people do forget. I appreciate it. Yeah, sometimes it's a little awkward, like asking people to like the video. I think in my last YouTube video, I asked for 100 likes, and I was like writing scripts on how to do it, but I ended up getting it out. So, would you drop Mantha or Verhaeghe for Zegras rest of season? Verhaeghe for me, if you want to drop either of them. But all right, Kings Blues. Like another snooze fest of a game where there's just not much interest for me, and I'm going to be quick with this one again. The Kings are going against St. Louis 1, which is a brutal matchup for the Perron line the O'Reilly line and the Kopitar line. Like it's going to be super low event, extremely defensive. The only reason why I would go to Kings 1 tonight is the Blues have a terrible penalty kill and take a bunch of penalties. So I think if like Kings 1 are a little bit intriguing, but at the $16K price tag, I just think there's better spots tonight against a Blues team who's been pretty good. But they did give up 5 goals against San Jose. But that's an outlier game, guys. Like you can't just look back at last game and say, oh, they gave up 5 goals. That means you're going to give up another 5 tonight. Like it doesn't work like that. But Parayko is out tonight. The Blues have taken a lot of penalties. They're terrible in the penalty kill. So the Kings 1 is intriguing. I think if you're doing 20 lineups tonight, I would have 2 or 3 with Kings 1 and just hope that they get luck on the power play. But the depth lines, no interest. On defense, Doughty is fine at 5,900. If you're taking the first line, you can pair Doughty with them. They become the same price as Leafs 1 if you put them there. So a little bit more interest for me. But Tobias Bjornfot, so he's one of the highest touted prospects in the league right now. I'm pretty sure he was captain for Team Sweden. He is blocking. He's playing a lot of minutes. He's on power play too. I have some interest in him tonight at 2,900. But Jonathan Quick, 10-foot pole. I just can never take Jonathan Quick.
I actually took Tobias Bjornford a couple nights ago when they played, who was it? Arizona. And he had 5 blocks, so I was more than happy with that, him being at min price. So,
Yeah.
2,900 and getting power play 2 time, like that's a pretty good punt defenseman to me. Even though his minutes are kind of like slim at like 18, he seems to be a talented
Min price is
defenseman
fine.
as well. And, yeah, and if he's getting good peripherals like blocks and
Mm-hmm.
shots and stuff, like that's fine for 2,900 for sure. Outside of that, it's Kings 1 for me tonight. I think this line has just been so surprising, and they always go under owned, and they seem like, just like I said, I mentioned it last time, they're just matchup proof. Like Kopitar had 2 points against Arizona last game, excuse me, and he doesn't really tend to shoot the puck a lot. He usually averages around like 2 or 3 shots a game, but I don't know, that line's just been clicking, and I think it's a good, it's definitely a good ownership play if you can get to them. Like Mike said, if you have 20 lineups, like definitely like 1 or 2 of them would just be great. Like that way you're kind of still like around the field. They're potentially over depending on how the ownership goes that night, and they're still just, they seem to be poised to just go off one of these games.
Yeah, it could happen for sure. They have a lot of correlation too. So Devils said he likes Quick tonight. Devils, I definitely respect your opinion. You've been buzzing the last week, so why Quick tonight? Trade Ovi for Pasta? Yeah, not even a question. I have Pasta as our rank 1 player rest of season, actually, over Matthews right now.
That completely makes sense.
Yeah. Fiala worth a pickup? Absolutely. I love Fiala. He'll be in my video tonight, guys. Thoughts on Panarin? Yeah, I mean, there's only so much I can say about it, guys. Like, I mean, I know just as much as everyone else does, but you can't drop him or trade him right now. No one's gonna look for him. You can't drop a player you drafted in the first round. Drop Mantha? Yeah, that's good. That's fine. So Matthew, to your point about Yamamoto, I actually just dropped him in my league. I'm in a league with hits and shots and plus minus, and he's done nothing for me. And there's just way better options available in free agency right now. All right. So blue side, and it's going to be quick for me again. I just think it's too hard of a matchup against Kopitar. So this O'Reilly line, just canceling out. I think there's just better spots tonight, especially at that price tag. Second line here, a little bit of interest. Hoffman and Schen's price is really high, but they are facing off against that Carter, Velarde, Kempe line, who's pretty bad defensively. Carter's one of the weakest defensive forwards in the league, so I don't mind them. But Blais just doesn't excite me too much on that line. But I think if you wanted to take Hoffman, Schenn, and maybe pair them with like Perron or O'Reilly, you're fine to do that. Or Sundqvist, someone that has very good expected goals numbers, shoots a lot. On the defensive side here, I always like Falk every night. He plays so many minutes. He has great block numbers, great shot numbers. He's on the top power play unit. Always have interest in Falk tonight, or in any night. Sorry, guys. And then Binnington at max price is a no thank you for me tonight.
Yes, the classic Mike fading Jordan Binnington. I mean, the big upside for Binnington for me is the Kings shoot a lot, and he's just been fantastic this season. So it's very possible that he could honestly see the shot bonus and get the win, and have a shutout on top of that. So I understand why he's priced at 8,500. I just think that you're paying up for a goalie, and if he doesn't get that win in like 30 shots against, then you're kind of not seeing your value there. So just be wary of that. But I think he's definitely a great goalie option tonight if you can get to him for that price. If I'm going anywhere with the Blue Knights, the second line, they've been really good. I love how Hoffman's now seeing some top 6 minutes. And even though him and Schenn are priced up, I still think that's a good option. I'm just going to take a look at their power play right now, just to see where everybody's at.
Yeah,
so
no
Hoffman
worries.
is on first power play with Schenn, so you get a little bit of power play correlation there. And then no Sammy Blais on power play 2, so that's still okay for me, right? Like you're the guys that you're paying up for are getting power play 1 time, and they're going to be playing a lot of minutes, especially if they go against that second line for the Kings. Then that's a pretty favorable matchup, and they will definitely get their opportunities tonight if they do see that matchup. So
Yeah.
I'm good with that. In terms of the defense, the third line's actually, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. The third line was actually fairly decent last game, if I can remember correctly. I usually like to go to them when Hoffman's there, but I'm not even going to try and pronounce Austin's last name, but even he's min-priced, so I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, sure. But Sundqvist is a pretty high volume shot guy, and Stanford has seemed to pair well with him there. So I'm okay with taking that third line just as a filler. And then sometimes if I have some cash left over, I'll throw Vince Dunn in with them, just because they all correlate and they all have power play 2 correlation. So Stanford, Sundqvist, and Austin doesn't get power play 2 correlation. Obviously, it's
Austin who?
there, and then Poganski. Did I mess it up?
No, you're good.
Okay. And then Falk and Dunn see power play 2 times, so it's just Dunn's a little bit more of a value option than Falk.
Falk's on the power play too?
He is. He's listed there.
I lost all my credibility, guys. All right. So I have a couple questions about trades. We've got the analyzer up here quickly. We had one yesterday on stream. Stone for Barkov. But we got...
Wow.
Who was it? Taylor Hall for Gabriel Landeskog.
I still think Hall.
It's close. Yeah, we actually have Landeskog winning the trade.
Wow.
So, Larkin and Krug. Torrey Krug. For Malkin and Letang. Yeah, Malkin Letang side wins by quite a bit.
I actually traded Larkin in my points league.
And if you guys want access to this trade analyzer, it's available on our Patreon for the $8 or $15 tier. $15 tier also gives you access to our spreadsheets, everything we use for our DraftKings. We've had a lot of success this year on, and so have our viewers. So it's all available on our Patreon. Click the link in our description. Click the Patreon link through our link tree, and you can see our options there. All right, Golden Knights Avalanche. Weird game last game. Like 9-hour delay. I was in 4th place in DraftKings, and then the game got resumed, and then I ended up finishing in 11th with the McKinnon, Rantanen, Burakovsky. Burakovsky got me like 1.3 points. So close. All right, so the big thing to note about this game is that Golden Knights 1 were facing off against Colorado 2, and Colorado 2 has been brutal defensively. This Vegas 1 line like worked them like really bad last game. So that does interest me at the 17K price tag. Stone's below 6K, which is an absolute shock to me. 2 guys on the top power play unit. The Avalanche have been good on the penalty kill, but I think if I'm going anywhere tonight, it's going to be Knights 1, and that's about it from this side. On the defensive side, not too much interest. I just think the Avalanche is such a difficult matchup to play against. And then Fleury at 7,600 is fine if you're correlating him with your Knights 1 stacks.
Yeah, Fleury looks to be poised to go in net against the Avalanche. He's been great. I wouldn't look too much in the last game just because of the outdoor situation and everything like that. But I do just want to look at the game log for Mr. Shea Theodore here. He did have 4 shots on goal. And if you look at his past couple games, he hasn't been shooting at the rate that we normally see him. But God, he's been on an absolute tear in terms of points. So for 6,500, I still think that's an okay price, especially because he's on power play 1 and he's playing over 20 minutes a game. I think that's fine. But if you want somebody with a little higher floor, I definitely go with Petro. He just seems to shoot and block a little bit more, and he is priced down just slightly, but I think he's a little bit more consistent in terms of his shots and blocks. But yeah, Vegas 1, I don't think you can ever go wrong against them. Even in a tough matchup against the Avalanche, like these teams are going to trade chances no matter what, especially if they're going against Colorado 2. And then line 2, I'm probably off for Vegas until they kind of show me something in terms of like just like actually being the nut stack for once. I think that I'm gonna be off them until they start heating up a little bit. Last year they were great. I don't know what happened this year, but they haven't been able to get a multi-point night, it seems like, as a full line. So it's tough to kind of justify, even though they have good value, and especially a matchup against the Avalanche. I'm kind of off them.
Yeah.
The third line's pretty good though. Tuck and Glass get power play time, both 3,500. Tuck is a pretty high volume shooter, if I remember correctly, as well. He's not like crazy high like a Pacioretty or something, but he does tend to shoot the puck quite a bit. So I'm okay with taking that third line, especially against. Is Landeskog actually on the third line there?
Yep.
Okay, interesting that they split that top line up. So yeah, I think I'm okay with taking Knights 3 just as like a filler stack.
Yeah.
And I'm getting power play time. That's okay. But outside of that, I think it's going to be just a tough matchup and a pretty low event game.
Other than McKinnon busting through the middle and scoring.
Yeah, well, that's McKinnon, right? Like, he can do whatever he wants, pretty much.
Yeah. And to your point quickly, I'm just going to rag on you a little bit here, but you mentioned you don't want to take Vegas 2 until they're the nut stack. So that means you're going to watch them be the best stack of the night, and then you're going to take them. So for our viewers that take in that advice, please do not listen to it. Take Knights 2 when they're the nut stack, not after. But
I think that they haven't been as consistent as I would have hoped them to be, and it's similar to like Calgary 2, for example, where you have like some good upside and you just are constantly taking them, and they just haven't been producing at the rate that they normally would.
Yeah. All right. So
that was my point, kind of.
So the Avalanche side here, they're just really pricey tonight in a very tough matchup against the Golden Knights, and it's similar to the Golden Knights side where I think it's going to be a low event game. There shouldn't be a lot of goals scored, and they're priced too high. I just can't see myself paying $20K for a line that's going against the Golden Knights tonight. The value is just not there for me on the Avalanche side. On the defensive side, Byram and Timmins got sat last game for the entire third period, so I'm off of all Avalanche defensemen tonight. I don't mind Taves, but I would like him better if his price was lower and the matchup was better. So Girard is fine as a one-off defenseman. If you want to pay down for someone at 3,500 and you're looking for an option, that's fine. But other than that, not too much I like from the Avalanche side tonight.
That's tough because I look at both these teams and I definitely give the edge in terms of like defensively to the Golden Knights. I just think that first line is so good at 5-on-5, and it's tough. Like, even though McKinnon went McKinnon mode and just streaked in and scored a beauty of a goal against them in the outdoor game, I think it's like Mike said, it's gonna be a low event game, and I just don't like Burakovsky on that top line, especially at like 4K. Like, if I would to pay up for that line, I'd want Landeskog to be on there and just have the full power play one correlation as well. So it's tough for me to get to that line, just because of the price, like Mike said. Like, you don't really want to go to the second line either if they see the matchup against Golden Knights 1. So outside of that, like even the D, it's kind of tough, especially with like the matchup. If they're limiting Byram's minutes, I don't think that he's going to be like that great of a punt defenseman. I think there's a better option. I'd even rather go with like Tobias Bjornford against the Blues. So it's tough to get to the Avalanche tonight, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a 1 or 2-0 game for either of these teams.
Yeah, so I was just looking at my phone quickly at one of my apps, and Colorado is first for goals against. Vegas is second. Colorado, so least goals against. Colorado has the least shots against, and Vegas has the second least shots against. Colorado is the best penalty kill, and Vegas is the third best penalty kill. So just a defensive matchup tonight.
Yeah, this is a playoff matchup. Like, this could honestly be the Western Conference final if it wasn't for the way the divisions are built right now. Yeah,
so I have a question here about Pastrnak-Pettersson for Gaudreau Ovechkin. So based on our analyzer, we have the Pastrnak-Pettersson line winning this trade. All right. Sorry, guys. I know we have a lot of questions in the chat. We're just trying to get through this. Kill two birds with one stone. But drop Dvorak to get Reimer. I already have Lankin and Drieger. Good move or bad move? Yeah, that's fine. Dvorak's a little overpriced. Or a little overrated. Thornton for Dustin Brown. I like Dustin Brown. Traded Olofsson and Nylander for Oshie and Tkachuk. It depends on your league. I like Tkachuk's the best player in that trade.
Yeah, for sure.
Taylor Hall is surprisingly unknown. Should I grab him? Yep. Currently have Allmark in my team, and I'm wondering if I should go and get Talbot. Yeah, Talbot over Allmark by a mile for me. Trade Hall for Markstrom. I would hold on to Hall. Farabee or Gurionov? Gurionov for me.
Gurionov,
Should I do? Will Tarasenko be back? With Tarasenko back sooner than later, will that affect O'Reilly's value? It'll make his value better, actually.
Yeah, it'll increase it for sure.
Do you think Ovechkin, Bobrovsky, and Kuz for Backstrom, Pacioretty, and Blackwood is a good trade?
I'm just not comfortable taking Bobrovsky right now in any trade, especially if you're giving up Blackwood, who's been just solid for the Devils so far. And then you're also giving up Pacioretty, who's a really high shot volume guy. Like, yes, you're getting Ovi back, but I just think the goalies kind of offsets that trade for me.
Yeah, Pacioretty is one of the best plus-minus guys in the league as well. So I wouldn't trade Pasta. Yeah, don't trade Pasta, but trade for Pasta if you can. We have 44 people in here right now, guys. I'm going to see how many likes we're at. We're at 29 likes. If you guys are liking the content so far, feel free to take a second and leave a like if you're enjoying the content so far. All right, guys. So Ducks, Coyotes. This is going to be an interesting one tonight. There's going to be a lot of eyes on this game. I do think the ownership on Mr. Trevor Zegras is going to be high tonight. He is min price. He finally got the call up tonight, and he's in a good matchup against the Coyotes' second line, who is very, very poor defensively. And we see he's on power play too. I'm going to assume he plays at least 15 minutes tonight. He's been lighting up the AHL. If you guys were in my stream last night or watched my stream from last night, I talked about how Zegras is probably a must-own player in fantasy right now. He's the number one prospect in hockey, and he's in the NHL now. So it's going to be hard for me to fade him tonight. I think this Ducks 2 line is extremely cheap, and you can pair them with any of the top lines. So yeah, if I'm going anywhere tonight, it's Ducks 2. I really like Silverberg as a player as well. Steele is okay. I wish it was still Heinen there, and then Zegras was centering them, but I'm fine with Steele. Steele, Silverberg, both on the top power play unit. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Zegras move to the top unit as the game progressed, but a lot of interest in that second line for me tonight. Other than that, not too much I like from the Duck side.
I'm hoping that somewhere in the near future we get to see Raquel and Zegras on a line together. Like, I don't even care at that point who really centers that line, but that would give me some excitement being able to take those guys with just the way that we've seen Zegras play in the World Juniors and then absolutely light up the AHL so far. Mike has done a lot of digging into the the San Diego Gulls as of late, so we also know of a pretty good defenseman that's showing a little success there too. So we'll be interested to keep an eye on that if he sees some time up with the Ducks as well. I think that it's definitely a good filler stack to take the second line for the Ducks here. It's just Zegras has just so much upside just as a talented player in general, and for him being at min price, like, this could potentially be the only time we see him ever at min price.
Yeah.
If he absolutely goes bananas tonight, which he's definitely capable of doing, and he showed just kind of over the past little bit that he is ready for the NHL. So it gives the Ducks a little bit of hope here, in my opinion. Like, they've just been a bad team. So the only thing I'm really worried about is if you're correlating your goalies, do not take Ryan Miller.
What?
If John Gibson is in goal, definitely correlate your goalies. But if Ryan Miller's in net, do not correlate him with your Duck stack. I know he's 7,100. And Gibson would beat 7,300 if he starts. It's just it's going to be interested to see who starts, just because Gibson's been playing so much as of late.
Yeah.
And he's just been so good, right? So
he struggled last game against Minnesota, 5 goals against, which is a shock. But that's probably a wake-up call to the coach saying, this guy has started 15 out of 16 games. I think we need to give him a break, considering we are 6-10 or whatever they are. So
that is exactly where my head would be. And then you would see the matchup against them on the 24th, which is Wednesday.
Yeah, 2 days.
So I think just keep an eye on that as we come into lock. I wouldn't be surprised if Miller starts, just because of that issue with Gibson, and wanting to get him some rest is obviously very important for this Ducks team going forward. So it's really just the second line for me tonight.
Yeah. All right, Coyote side. So with Gibson not starting tonight, this makes it an extremely intriguing spot to target against the Ducks. Like, he's the sole reason why we don't really play players against them, because like, he's a goalie and we've seen it all year this year that makes 35 saves, and you know, they have like 25 high danger chances, and he's just putting them all the rest. So Coyotes 1 have been one of my favorite lines this year. They're in a very good spot tonight against the Ducks top line, who have been very bad defensively. Ryan Getzlaf he's too old now. He can't keep up. And then my boy, and you guys are going to see him in my video tonight, Connor Garland. He is becoming an elite player in this league. He is very good. We're going to see him a lot over the next 3 years. All of his advanced stats are right up there with McDavid and Matthews. I'm not comparing him to them, but the fact that this random guy in Arizona is putting up stats similar to players that are consistently in the spotlight really intrigues me. This Coyotes 1 line just doesn't get any love ever, and that's what I like about them, is that they're going to be super unowned, similar to the Islanders 1, and that's what I'm looking for in my lineups tonight. So definitely going to be on Coyotes 1 tonight. Depth lines I'm not interested in, and then Chikrin at 6,100 is always a good price. He is a great peripheral guy dating back to last season when we were taking him at 3,900, like the dream. But now he's power play 1. His minutes are up. I'm very intrigued with this Coyotes team tonight, and I think you're 100% okay to correlate Kemper. But the only concern, and if I feel like I'm a record and I'm just repeating this, but you don't have to tell your story again today. But the Ducks have 0 shot volume, so Kemper won't pay off value unless he gets a shutout tonight. So just be wary of that. I think you can look elsewhere for goalies with a little bit higher shot volume against them.
Yeah, for sure. And his price is 8,200. I know we don't have it listed there. It's for some reason not coming through. But for 8,200, I think like you want to see a goalie that's at least going to get 25 to 30 shots. And it's very possible that he doesn't see that many from the Ducks tonight. But I'm very, very excited about this Coyotes 1.
No way. I'm surprised.
Just absolutely raved about them as of late. I've also looked into their numbers and their peripherals as well. And all power play 1 correlated, they're going to be under-owned, probably a little bit more owned than I originally anticipate.
Yeah,
that's
fair.
Because that's like recency bias and everything like that as well. But I think it's a really good matchup against the Ducks. It's probably the best matchup that they'll see all season, especially with Ryan Miller potentially being in goal. I think it's an absolute slam dunk play for the Coyotes tonight. I'm definitely going to have power play or just the first line in my lineup as well, and I'm definitely going to have some Chikrin. Just because, like Mike said, he's just fantastic when it comes to peripherals. Always plays a lot of minutes, and he does put up quite a few points as of late.
Yeah, top power play unit.
Something that hopefully we see a lot more of in the future, because we've been on this guy since, last year and potentially the year before as
he was so good last year in Draftkings.
Yeah, absolute stud from a Draftkings perspective, and in real life, if you watch him play too, like he's just a very poised defenseman, does everything right, smart player. So definitely excited about him, especially on power play 1. So give me some Yotes 1 tonight.
Yeah, and I just want to talk about the peripherals a little bit here. So Garland has 104 shot attempts this season. He's 10th in the league for shot attempts. And I'm sure you can name 10 guys, the 9 guys in front of him. It's all the big dogs. And then Chikrin, 99 shot attempts this season, 27 blocks. Just a lot to like from this team tonight. For me anyways. Sure. All right. So the Wild and the Sharks. I already see you laughing, but this Wild 1 line has, and 2, they have a lot of interest from me tonight. I really, really, really like Kevin Fiala. His shot volume is extremely high right now. He's attempting about 7 shots per game. And I told you this before the stream. This is what we saw from Fiala last season when he broke out for he had 14 goals, 26 points in 19 games after the All-Star break. And his shot volume was extremely high. This is an elite shooter on a team that has actually shaped into a pretty offensive team with this Greenway combination, who have been limiting scoring chances like crazy and have been producing scoring chances like crazy. Their on-ice goals for percentage, Eriksson Ek is 72%. So from what I can remember, he's on for 18 goals for and 7 against so far this season. So they're not letting teams do anything against them. They have strong numbers. Fiala's shooting the puck. 2 guys on the top power play unit. I have a lot of interest from Wild 1 tonight. And the Wild second line, they are extremely cheap tonight. They're a second line that's under 10K. They played about 15 minutes last night, and that's fine for a line that's playing. For a line that you're paying 10K for. So there's definitely a lot of flexibility you get with this team. I think they're all priced super favorably. And then the defensive side, I also am very intrigued by a few guys. So I'm going to go to Jared Spurgeon tonight. The Sharks have just been really bad defensively, and I think this is the best spot for him to score a few goals. And like we've seen in the past where he scored 2 or 3 goals in a game. So definitely on the Wild as a team tonight. And Talbot at 8K is perfectly fine with me.
Yeah, definitely a good matchup for the Wild here. And I just want to look briefly at
Sure.
Spurgeon just to see if he's starting to shoot the puck a little bit more. It seems like he has been just in his past 4 or 5 games. His production in terms of shot volume started to go up a little bit, as well as his blocks. So for 4K playing power play 1, like you can't really go wrong with that, especially with a guy playing over 21 minutes. I know we talked in the past about him being one of these ghost minutes players where he's just on the ice a lot, super shut down, doesn't really get a lot of peripherals, and there's really no upside to taking him outside of his minutes. But it does seem he's trending in the right direction here, and I think 4K is a great price for him just to fit in like with any of your cheap Wild lines here. But line 2 being at 9,800, like that's like relatively cheaper than most of the good third lines that I like to take.
Yeah, they're
So
cheaper than Tampa 3 tonight.
Yeah. So that's definitely a line that I'm interested in taking. Same kind of storyline with Ducks 2 as well with Zegras and Silverberg. That line is only 9,700 as well. So I think those are 2 really good options just because they're second lines and they're going to see a lot more minutes than your typical third line would. And they do hold a little bit more upside in terms of a power play opportunity as well. So I think that's definitely a good filler stack option with a more pricey line. And then Wild 1, our boy Kevin Fiala, just on an absolute shot machine right now. Like he's just ridiculous at how much shot volume he has as of late, and just given like his game sample as well, like everything points in the direction to where like he's going to pop off like he did at the end of last season. And I just hope that I'm on him when that happens. I'm definitely going to have some Wild 1 tonight. Just again, like the Sharks are a very bad team defensively. And especially with like Erik Karlsson still being out, especially it's just, and Martin Jones in net too. There's just so many good looks for the Wild tonight. And that, even though it's a small sample, that Wild 1 line looks very good.
Yeah, like Greenway and Ek together have a really large sample, and it's what you would expect where they have 0 scoring chances against, like none.
Yeah, Greenway's like I heard you talking about it, actually, like a really good defensive forward.
Yeah, so is Eriksson Ek. Like they are very, very, very strong, and that's why you don't hear anything about them ever. No one knows who these players are. Like if you're an average fan, you ask name 5 Minnesota Wild, they're not being named. And I think just one thing here that I noticed with Kevin Fiala is that he has a 70% high danger chances for percentage when he's on the ice. So he is creating a ton of chances when he's on the ice, and that is something you love to see. And then the Shark side, I'm going to be quick with this. I think there's not much to like here. This Wild team is extremely good at limiting chances, at not letting teams shoot. They're just very, very strong defensively. And it's just really hard for me to take anyone in the Sharks going against a team that has been lights out in the defensive zone. So anyone to like here, you're going Sharks 1 if you want to take them. They're pretty good 5-on-5, but dating back to last season, they're a little bit worse than what we're seeing so far. And then Mario Ferrero is okay at that price. He sees a ton of minutes. And then Burns is always a good play.
Yeah, it's really just Brent Burns for me. Just playing a ridiculous amount of minutes with Karlsson being out, and even though he's 6,800, he still just shoots the puck and blocks a ton. So power play 1 time as well. So I think that's really your only option. You can take Sharks 1. I don't think they're a bad line to take. It's just like Mike said, the Wild are very good at limiting chances, and I just think that it's a more upside of a matchup with Wild 1, just given their price as well, and Fiala just being on this ridiculous shot volume spree.
So just before we kind of wrap things up here, don't say your hat trick picks yet, but everyone start thinking about them, and we'll get to the hat trick picks in 5 minutes. I'm just going to answer a few questions in the chat here. Again, don't put them in the chat yet. Well, we'll get to it in 5 to 10 minutes. Sorry, there's a lot of questions. Connor Hall, I would say Kyle Connor for me.
Oh, Connor.
Trade or
Jeez.
hold, Jack Eichel. Pretty easy answer there. Hold. Weekly head-to-head. Should I hang on to Tarasenko on your IR? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Like Tarasenko is like a top 25, top 30 player, healthy.
Yep.
Yeah, Mike Platt has a good point. Eichel's a first-round pick. Trade him for what? Yeah, you're right. Like, there's no point in trading him. I dropped Holpe and Demko for Kakinen and Talbot. That's fine. I think Demko is actually fine to hold. But Scheif and Rantanen for Kane and Tavares. Scheif and Rantanen for me.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Rantanen. Rust versus Garland.
That's actually tough.
Man, that's like...
Might be a trade analyzer one.
Well, I mean, we have Garland's last 2 years. We have we go off the last 2 years of historical data, and he's been like exceptional this year, right? So it'll obviously value Rust over him by quite a bit. That's a really good question. What's your league like, Felipe? Because Garland's gonna kill him in plus minus. His plus minus rate is phenomenal. Eichel for Dougie and Pasta. Yeah, if you're getting Dougie and Pasta for Eichel, absolutely.
I don't know if that goes through, but
yeah, if you can get Pasta and Hamilton for Eichel, that's like a no-brainer. Trade Reimer for Mrazek and pick up Samsonov.
No.
I would just hold Reimer for now. Roslovic or Fiala? Fiala for me.
Fiala.
Should I drop Zegras for Fiala? And then I saw Brew got a little upset here. Little argument going on. Come on, guys. I mean, yeah, I would. It's so hard to.
Fiala.
I would take Fiala too. Zegras just hasn't proved anything in the NHL yet. We have no idea how many minutes he's going to play. And Fiala's a more proven player, obviously. Should I add Spurgeon or Greenway? Depends on your needs, tribe. Honestly. If you need defenseman, Spurgeon. If you need forwards, Greenway. Kakinen starting. Okay, good to know. Thanks. Thanks, Wolf.
Kakinen and
Love
Talbot.
that. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Just picked up Zegras. Love that. Mike, should I pick up Kevin's? Oh my god. Just ignore Brew. Should I pick up Fiala? Yep. Trade or hold to Foley? You can definitely trade. And who should I trade him for?
Sure.
He's a sell high, huge sell high candidate. He was my sell high candidate in my video 2 weeks ago, I think. But his value's definitely dropped a bit since then. Who should you try and target? It's so hard for me to tell, Matthew, because A, I don't know the league, and B, I don't know how people are with trades. But if you can let me know like the scoring, I can try and muscle up a few players, I think.
Sell high on Josh Anderson.
I don't even know if he's a sell high candidate. I feel like he's just his value is fair.
Yeah.
Lots of hits,
too.
Hits, shots.
Yeah, shots.
I think Anderson's a hold. All right, guys. So, Clarky, favorite line tonight? There's a lot of lines we liked, but what's your number one? Don't say it.
I know I'm gonna regret saying it.
Don't do it.
It's Coyotes 1 for me. I just think like it's such a good matchup, especially if Miller starts, and they've been really good as of late. So I'm gonna jump on that line and see how they do tonight. I think they just have the best matchup.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Islanders 1. I just like the matchup against the terrible Sabres team. Favorite defenseman tonight? You can give me a high-priced one, and then you can give me a value defenseman. Take your time.
Well, sticking on the theme here,
Yeah.
My favorite high-priced D is Chikrin.
Me too.
And then my favorite low-priced D. Just having a peek around.
Yeah, no worries.
here.
Take your time, man. Okay, I'm ready to say mine. Mine's Bjorn Fott at 2,900.
I was gonna say him. I don't know how much time he gets like outside of the power play, and especially against like the Blues too, right? Like that's kind of a tough matchup.
Yep. Okay.
Not too excited. I might just go with Strawman. I think he's pretty consistent
Yeah,
with the Panthers.
that's fine. All right, guys. So drop in your hat trick picks. I got the sheet up here. Gonna restart all this. Yeah, everyone, feel free to drop in your hat trick picks for tonight. Clarky, get yours brewing in your head. But we still have no one's hit. But we're gonna do a new thing here, guys. I'm gonna be calculating the fantasy scores. Hopefully I get around to it before the stream. There's usually a lot to do right before, but drop in your hat trick picks tonight, guys. Oh yeah, this is gonna be. We're gonna see a lot of Zegras tonight.
Clayton Keller. Okay. Kevin Fiala. Always just jumping in there. Pacioretty, Stamkos, Matthews. Can't go wrong with either of those three.
No.
Mike, I don't think McDavid plays
No,
tonight.
he doesn't. But I mean, I would still take him even if he doesn't play.
Yeah, exactly. Anders Lee. I like that. Pavelski. Bjornfort or Ferrero rest of season, Mike?
Ferrero.
Probably Ferrero, yeah. Another Matthews. Svechnikov.
I saw a stat that Matthews has 33 two-goal games and 2 hat tricks.
Yeah, dude, I was talking to my buddy. I'm like, is he cursed because he scored 4 in his first game, and he's just like never gonna hit a hat trick ever again? But he will score like 2 goals every game. Huberdeau, there's 2 Huberdeau ones there. Okay. Lots of predictions tonight. I love this.
Huberdeau actually has the highest shooting percentage in the league right now. 33.5%, something like that.
Jeez.
Oops, okay. 1 sec here. Got Matthews, Miggs, Svech, I like that. Wait, Kevin, you said Fiala and Huberdeau. Come on. Connor claims the Huberdeau. All right, Clarky. Mike, if you want to Mike Plot, you took McDavid. If you want to stay with McDavid, I totally understand. But if you want to pick someone else, I get it.
He's not on the slate tonight.
What are you thinking?
I'm gonna go with Matthew Barzal.
That's one.
Sabres are pretty bad.
Yeah, 1 T in Matthew.
Oh, another Fiala from Duncan here.
Maybe I should stop hyping up Fiala so much.
Same with Zegras. We've seen a couple Zegras. He's more of a, I think he's more of a pass first guy though. No, like we saw him in the World Jays just have a ridiculous amount of assists.
7 goals, 11 assists.
Oh, he's that even, is he?
Yeah.
Jeez, good for him.
Sorry, Kevin. All right, I'm gonna say Mr. Connor Garland, my boy. So many scoring chances. It's gonna come. All right, guys. So that concludes the stream today. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. It's been awesome. We're able to answer a lot of questions. If you guys enjoy the content, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. We're going to be doing this almost daily. Just depends on how large the slate is. Usually around 5 or more games, we will be live. So I know the schedule is pretty heavy this week, so I'm assuming we were going to be streaming almost every day. But appreciate everyone for tuning in. If you guys want access to our awesome DFS spreadsheet. It also helps you with season long as well. You can see who's on the top power play, which lines are together, which lines have been doing good. It's a really useful tool. We also have our trade analyzer, and I showed you guys it today and how it works. It's super simple. We also have a custom one where you can edit all of the scoring here on the left. And guys, if you're not in the Discord yet, get in the Discord. We're almost at 200 people. It's been awesome in there. We have a lot of people that are very knowledgeable, a lot of people that have been helping out. And if you guys have any questions, just drop it on my video, leave a comment, or if you want to ask in the Discord, feel free. Clarky, any final notes?
I'm just going to answer JP's question here before I conclude my segment, but yes, I think it would be dumb if you traded McKinnon and Stammer for Bergeron and Marchand, especially if you have passed already. Like, you should be laughing at that point. No need to get Bergeron and Marchand. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for coming into the stream. You're definitely going to see a lot more of us as the week progresses. It seems like a pretty busy week, so we're going to be here a lot, answering all of your DFS and season-long fantasy questions. And if you guys need like immediate answers or anything, like Mike said, get in the Discord. It's the best way to reach us. Just hit one of us with an @ or any of the Fantasy Puck team, and we'll be able to answer your questions as quickly as we possibly can. Mike's pretty good with that. So just again, thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like before you head out. And if you guys want, and that trade analyzer, I think, is just the best thing that Don has come up with to this point. I think it's so helpful, so effective. You guys seem to have a lot of trade questions. So if you want access to that, definitely consider grabbing a subscription to our Patreon. We make sure that we give you guys as much value as possible. So definitely consider looking into that if that's something you're interested in for the rest of the season. And then thank you to Mike for having me on. As always, it's a pleasure. Love hanging out with you guys. Love all this discussion. And let's make some money tonight, guys.
Yeah, let's win some money, guys. Also, forgot to plug the Twitter, @fantasy_puck. We drop stats, any major lineup changes. Everything's going to be on there as well. And feel free to tweet at us if you guys have any questions or, just want to talk. We're here. Anyways, guys, thanks a bunch. Could we tweet you? Absolutely.
For sure, Matthew.
All right, guys. Peace out.